Welcome to the Dirty Side of Leadership podcast with Ron and Kristin, where leadership meets entertainment. This podcast features stories with names and certain aspects that have been changed to keep submissions private. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Dirty Side of Leadership podcast, where leadership meets entertainment. I'm Kristin Sokoloff, joined as always by my co-host, Ronnie Ward. Ron, are you excited about today's episode? It is spicy, and it might make you a little uncomfortable.
Well, I want to put a disclaimer. I didn't write this. Kristin did. And when she first sent it, I thought she had went off the deep end. But when I got into it, it's interesting. So hang with us, folks.
We're going to be talking about something that I can almost guarantee you no one else is saying out loud, and that is the leadership libido. And not the sexual kind. We're talking about the raw emotional craving that leaders have to drive, dominate, inspire, build, or sometimes burn it all down.
Yeah, I guarantee there's never been a podcast done with that exact title. But anyway, this is one of those conversations, might make you squirm in the beginning, but you'll also recognize yourself, your boss, maybe even your followers. Libido is real, and it's under every strategic decision you've ever made.
Yeah, and I started doing some research into this, and I'm like, this is wild, because I truly believe in what we're talking about today. I believe that it to be true. I had just never approached it this way. So yeah, this is kind of earth-shattering for me as well. So let's break down, what is leadership libido really? So let's just get it out there. Leadership libido is the hunger behind ambition. And Ron, you and I have talked about how sometimes we're just churning constantly. Like I constantly feel like I need to achieve more and more and more. And it gives you a feeling of unease, at least for me. It's like I could have so many things going well, but I want more, right? And so I think, it's the part of you that wants to shape the room, not just be in it. I've told you I struggle just sitting in church because I want to be changing things, right? It's what makes you want the ball when the game is on the line.
No, it's true. And I used to wonder, back in the day, I would see a millionaire and yet they're chasing more, but we have to understand that that's their mindset. It wasn't about the $1 million. Yeah. It's never going to be enough. So you keep chasing. So, sometimes it looks super polished, Chris, and you don't recognize it. And this caused me to do some real reflection, I have to admit. But sometimes it gets messy. I mean, you ever catch yourself obsessing over something minor just because it felt like a win?
Like literally the other day in church, I leaned over to my mom and I'm like, they really need to figure out who the lead singer is. The guy and the gal up there kind of like fighting for lead. And she goes, I am praying. Can you please focus? And I'm like, I'm sorry. And then later I was talking to her don't you think I'm right?
Kristin,
there's clearly, and she's like, you have problems.
It starts with interrupting your mother. Next thing you know, you'll be storming churches.
Oh gosh.
Keep going.
Crazy though.
Don't do it.
I'm not going to be storming. Yeah, no, but it's so
Kristin.
True. Oh my gosh.
Go ahead.
No. So bad. But yes, it's like this, it's this inner itch. It's like the more impulse. Yeah. And if you don't recognize it, you'll either burn out or worse, you're going to burn people.
No, it's true. And like I said, I've been there. You start a project to help people, but somewhere along the line, you realize that you were just kind of chasing this vision, and you kind of want to be seen as the guy who pulled it off. I helped pull it all together. And it's an ego check, and I've called it before the superhero complex. You love to come in and save the day. It's just kind of natural, but we have to keep that in check.
Yes, we do, especially in church. And that's honest. And it's exactly why we need to have this conversation, myself included. Libido is not good or bad. It's powerful. And power without awareness always ends sideways.
Yeah, no, it's true.
All right, let's nerd out for a second, Ron. I know you love this. Dopamine. So the molecule of wanting is a major player here. And leaders aren't just chasing results. They're chasing that rush of pursuit, like that what's next hit.
And, Kristin, I give this a lot of thought because leaders can't enjoy the win, which I've said, because you're on to the next project or you're chasing the next dopamine drip. But I will say sometimes work dictates that. Like, you win here and then you've got 5 other projects pending, but you still bring that same libido into it, looking to get some more, I guess, accolades or whatever it is. So I have been guilty of it. And I told someone the other day, it was my former deputy. She and I were texting and we were reminiscing a little bit. We're trying to get together to have lunch. She happens to be in the Mount Pleasant area. And she said, I've learned a lot about myself and I would do a lot of things different. I said, oh my God, me too. I said, I've learned so much about myself and I really would do a lot of things differently if I could go back. We can't, but I am being able to help equip leaders now through some of the mistakes that I made.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm right there with you on, man, I wish I would have approached something completely differently. But that's how we've learned and we're honing every day. And the problem is that, going back to the chase, that chase can start to define your identity and you're no longer leading, you're feeding. And if no one around you can call that out, you're cooked, as the kids like to say. Cookies.
Yeah, it's true.
Have you heard that, Ron?
And you can, yeah, I did. You can tell by sometimes the words people speak or the way they phrase things that, they're chasing their own dream instead of the team's dream. And have you ever felt that before? Have you ever experienced that when you were in banking or otherwise?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's something where, like, personally, I enjoyed going to all of the networking events and, the bank would put them on all of the time and bring your team. And so I'd be super excited about it, wanting my team to go. And sometimes they would, but I could tell that they weren't into it as much as I was, right? Like there was that, I was doing it because I think it's great to meet some of the, most powerful people in the room, but that's not everybody's mission, right? And so to take them along with me, they would do it, just to, I guess, appease me in a sense. But yeah, no, it wasn't their passion.
Do you know a way that I figured this out, Kristin, is I had to go to DC a lot. And sometimes I would go ahead and participate in the weekly meeting with my managers, but I would be in DC. And I would accomplish great things in DC, like I would get funding or I would have an important meeting or even get a position. But I realized when I came back, I couldn't be boastful about that. I had to be careful about the whole DC connection. I had to just say, this is what we got. Because I think I was a little boastful in some way, and I could just tell it rubbed them the wrong way. So I would just come back and say, I had a good trip to DC. Here's what we got done, and I would move on and not mention it. I could just tell, and that's part of being intuitive and part of just reading the room, as they call it. So sometimes the libido goes off the rails. No brakes, no bumpers, and if you're not intuitive, you won't even get it.
Oh, yeah, it's so true. Absolutely. It looks like leaders who surround themselves with yes men, we've talked about this before, like decisions that are brilliant but devastating, or like charisma used as a cover for chaos. I've seen that before, and I like what you're talking about because a lot of people operate under what's in it for them, right? So if you're coming back and you're talking about something that was like a great win for you, but didn't positively impact the team per se, or maybe it did, but not enough for them to realize it, they're going to see that as boastful. I've experienced that as well.
They do, and sometimes they just want to impress their superiors. They don't care about their own staff. As long as we produce good numbers and all that, and we're doing it with a smile, and then the culture's crumbling.
Yeah, exactly. And no one calls it out because they've learned, right? So if you push back on that kind of leader, you get iced out fast. So that's something to be aware of.
Yeah, no, it is. And I've actually done that. I've pushed back. And, the next week, I remember, like, I was ostracized in a meeting because I spoke up, but it wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right place. So anyway, you just have to read the room. You got to know the situation. You got to look at things from a logical perspective.
Yeah, exactly. And I appreciate you saying that because that's the real stuff. Leaders driven by unregulated libido creates environments where fear replaces innovation. So we have to be aware of that and keep it in check. I want to talk about feminine versus masculine libido in leadership, okay? So let's shift to nuance. There's masculine libido, active, aggressive, chasing, winning, and then feminine libido, intuitive, attuned, magnetic. We all have both, and the best leaders are going to use both.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Kristin, you know, I worked for two good leaders, and they had their faults, but I'm saying they were good leaders. Both were female, and one female leader would flow in situations. She didn't dominate a room; she absorbed it, and she just wanted to do good work around her. And that is kind of feminine libido personified. She was an excellent example of that.
Yeah, I know that is interesting. I was like, as you're talking, I'm reflecting on my leadership style. I always say I'm like half man brain. So I definitely am not feminine libido personified. I'm definitely more in the middle, but which that can rock people, right? They expect one thing from a female. And when you have a domineering female, it can be seen as, wow, she's a bitch, right? Quite frankly, that's what happens a lot of times. So going back to, it can be dismissed as soft when females are, like you said, that could be seen as soft when someone just absorbs the room, right? When really it could be also the truth of it is that it's unshakable, right? Someone is in there, they're unshakable, they're not being swayed by emotions. So it's an interesting place to fall.
Yeah, if someone can flow like that, you don't just follow because you have to, you want to. And even though my supervisor the last 9 years, she and I saw things differently, but she knew that I would pick up the phone or I would meet with her when we disagreed. And I think she respected that. I think we had a mutual respect, and it can actually flow in a great way, but I loved her strengths. I knew how to work within them and around them, and it was powerful.
Yeah. No, I think that's fantastic. And, that kind of power is sometimes what gets missed when we glorify only the hard-hitting alpha type. Real libido can whisper and still move mountains.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
All right. We ready for segment 5?
Let's do it.
Woo! Libido versus leadership porn. Okay, so we've all heard fear porn and other things. It's a saying. It's not literal. Okay, so let's let's keep listening, folks. Let's drag the fakes. Okay, so leadership porn. You know what I mean? We have the Instagram quotes. We've talked about this, Ron. People that have never led somebody in their life, but they're on Instagram doing all these quotes and making these mindful looking videos, the fake humility, the curated hustle life looks hot, right? But it's hollow.
Yeah, you have to imagine how crazy that drives me when I've got a 23-year-old telling, me all of these leadership tips that they got off of Google. And that really, you struck a chord with me there, Kristin.
Yeah, I mean, seriously.
But we're really talking about that. I wake up at 4 a.m. and I work everyone's speech, but their team is miserable and they just don't get it.
Yeah, they don't. And I had a leader like that before. Got in the office at 6 a.m. and expected everyone else. And a lot of people just fell in line. Well, she's there. I guess I need to be there. I was the only ones that was like, no, I'm not going to rock my family's world to try to keep up with the Joneses here when it's not necessary. And that takes someone aback when they're used to everyone just doing what they do, right? So real libido doesn't just post, it builds. It's not a highlight reel. It's a commitment to attention, to integrity, to failing in public and getting back up.
Yeah, and I have been fortunate to see good leadership in messy situations. And we've said it before, but a leader will bring calm to chaos. And it's really a beautiful thing. And again, if you work with someone over a period of time, you will find out if it's just all libido talking and nothing else.
Yeah.
And so I've seen it both ways in my career. And believe me, those humble, strong, decisive leaders, it's a beautiful thing to observe.
Yes. And I love that. That the truth is the sexiest leadership is the kind that doesn't have to say it is. It just is. So I love that you said that. Let's talk about how to channel it without burning out. I know, Ron, I've burnt out before, probably because I didn't feel like I had enough autonomy. And I don't know about you, but let's land this. So if you're listening and thinking, okay, maybe I do lead from libido more than logic sometimes, good. Now let's shape it. Let's go through some step work, Ron.
Yeah, let's do it. I love it.
Yeah. All right. So step one, you want to admit your craving. Is it control, validation, impact? You need to be able to say that to yourself. And I'm curious what you think most people that struggle with this.
Well, there's two things that I believe, Kristin, is that most conflicts can be solved with one good conversation, an honest conversation, but also a lot of behavior that's out of bounds can be solved with good reflection. If you think things through, just like I began to think about when I strolled back from DC, you know, I fly in like the hero and I've gotten a position and I've got this and that, and I can't wait to tell my team. And then I looked at their body language and I could just tell it wasn't about they were glad to get a position. It was my delivery. And it was me. So I really had to take a step back and check myself. I think leaders, if you're listening, if you will just do that self-reflection and you will observe your motives and your delivery and see how your staff responds, that's probably going to take care of about 60, 70% of this.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. I think it's good also. So step two here, anchor it to something real, a mission, a principle, a person.
Yeah.
How would you build that?
That's the whole point, is you lose focus of the mission. You lose focus of the principle, and it becomes about you. So you got to remind yourself. And another thing, Kristin, is when you retire, I had this moment, maybe you guys will appreciate this, but I had a guy call me. And, you know, he'd come through some of my training programs, and then we would be at a conference. We would hang out some. So he called me, hey, man, I'm in Charleston at the academy. You want to go to dinner? I'm retired. So we go to dinner, and when we pull back up, I have to go to the visitor control center. I don't have a badge to get on a campus that I was very popular and, you know, it hit me really hard.
Yeah.
Now, I could have called someone ahead, and certainly I can get on anytime I want, but I didn't have a badge to get on. I couldn't go through security. So one day, you're an academy director over one of the organizations. The next day, you got to call and get permission to enter that campus. And let me tell you something, Kristin. I drove by the driver course, and I was flooded with memories, but it's the first time I got a little bit emotional, and it hit me really hard. This stuff's fleeting, managers. Your big title is not always going to be there. So you got to build the foundation and have the principles to move on without it and make it about the mission. You don't own it. You're borrowing it, and it's going to go to someone else someday. Keep that in perspective.
Yeah. I think to add to that, look at this amazing relationship that you have with your daughters, right? And that was an intentional relationship. And I think so many people, they put their sole focus, I'm not saying you, I'm saying you're the opposite. They put their sole focus on their title, not realizing exactly what you just said. It's not always going to be there. It does not fully define who you are. And when that title is gone, what do you have? You have your family, right? And then the relationship with your family will say a lot about you. So kudos to you for being able to maintain that balance. I've witnessed that. But it is very difficult for people to really kind of foreshadow what the future is going to look like and really understand what that's going to feel like, right?
Yeah. Well, dittos to you, Kristin. You do the same thing.
Well, thank you.
Bake 1,000 cookies at Christmas. I'm still not over that. But anyway.
And only 10 got eaten. I'm still a little pissed about that.
And your beef Wellington, how did that turn out? Did you make it?
It turned out really well. Yeah, except the bottom was a little too soggy, like the pastry on the bottom. So I have to refine that. I'm not sure what was going on there. I need Dave Ramsey to help me out. But all right.
I don't think you need Dave Ramsey. I think you need...
No,
I think you need... Bobby Flay, or what's the other Ramsey? Dave Ramsey's the financial guy, Kristin. You might need him as well. Maybe you need him after Christmas. I don't know.
Wait.
Shout out to Dave Ramsey.
That is hysterical. Wait, who am I thinking of?
You're thinking of that British jerk. What's his name?
Ramsey. Oh my gosh, people listening are probably like yelling it out.
They are. Please text us.
Oh my gosh. Well, clearly you can tell I have a finance background because I have Dave Ramsey. Now I can't even. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, this is going to eat us up because now I'm Chat GPT.
Yeah.
I put Chef Ramsey. Gordon. And it didn't come up. Look, it did not come up. I thought of it.
I'm so glad you called that out. People would be like, what the heck? Yeah, I do need
Kristen's
Dave
broke.
Ramsey
We're going to start a GoFundMe, everyone.
Oh my gosh. No, that is so funny. Oh, thank you. Good catch on that. I'm going to laugh about that for a while. I need Dave Ramsey to help me with my baking.
I thought, man, that Dave's a talented guy. All right.
You know what? I'm going to splice this and tag him on Instagram with
Do it.
I'll tag them both. We'll see if it goes anywhere. But all right, step 3, invite pushback. You want to create a culture that's allowed to tell you when you're off, respectfully. Emphasize the respectfully and the setting, right, Ron?
Yeah, the big buzzword, psychological safety. And it's a fancy way of saying you got to be able to take some constructive criticism if you're a great leader, because you got blind spots and you need people who, but if they're afraid, they're not going to tell you. If they think it's going to cost them a promotion, they're not going to tell you. So that's on you.
Yes. I just want to bring up one thing, and I know I won't continue this episode on too long, Ron, because I know you have a big day. But what I want to say is somebody did this to me yesterday, and I'm really glad because I had a gut feeling about somebody, right? And then I felt bad about it. You know how that is, Ron?
Yes.
Like, because I draw conclusions very fast about people. And I've talked about how I did that with my friend Lori, who's a dear friend of mine, right? Like we had dinner the other day. So I was like, okay, my gut told me this person was bad news, right? And they're in my political industry, right? And so and then I felt bad. I'm like, maybe I'm just judging someone too fast and all these preconceived notions. And so I'm like, let me give them a second chance. And I did, and I shared it with somebody. And they were like, no, this person's a total piece of crap. And I think that you've overcorrected, feeling bad about, they said it's very eloquently, but in a nutshell, like, I think you've overcompensated here, overcorrected the direction you were heading in. And I really appreciate that. And the person that said that, it's also a very type A female who's also in the political space. And when you hear it from somebody, it's like, okay, I need that sometimes. You know what I mean? From someone that you respect and you know is coming from the right place. And again, that was just yesterday. So yeah, and I said, I think you're right. I think I did overcorrect on that. Lesson from the story, a moral of the story, go with your gut. Just trust your gut.
Yeah.
Except with Lori, Ron. Except with Lori.
Hey, I'll take step 4 because I've got something with that.
Please.
Step 4 is use it to build people, not just systems or legacy. And basically the old adage, be a doorway and not a door. That's the way you need to look at it. You need to look at each individual employee or people around you and ask, how can I make them better? How can I align them to get a promotion? And the one thing I will say, Kristen, is I did always try to do that. And sometimes it hurt the mission because you get someone promoted, you've got a vacant spot. And I know leaders who try to control everything and keep people from leaving just so they don't have to backfill. And you
keep your aces in your spaces.
Yes, and your jacks and cracks. I had to throw that in. You definitely want to be a doorway. Help people get promoted. You'll survive. You'll find a way to work around it.
Yeah, you will. You will. I was the same way. I love that.
Yeah.
And okay, so let's do this.
This one hits me as well, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, hey, run it.
Well, you got to tell libido to slow down.
Yeah.
And libido loves speed. It's like it's going. It's in one race, and then as soon as it goes to the finish line, it's over in another race.
Yeah.
But wisdom sometimes takes space, and you need to sometimes ask yourself, what am I chasing? What is my motive here? And the most beautiful thing that happened to me, and I've told people this before, they said, how did you learn so much about yourself after retirement? I said, I slowed down. I think things through, and it's made such a difference, Kristen.
I love that. I have to tell you, I felt that churning a few days ago where I just felt uneasy. I felt like, what am I even achieving? Like, one of those days where you feel like you need more. I had been watching HGTV, that Rock the Block show, and apparently it got under my skin. So I literally started painting. I painted my fireplace, I painted my bookshelf, and I painted my kitchen cabinets in one and a half days. And they look amazing. And now I feel more at ease. And I think it's not only for me, like, and people that are achievers, sitting idle will drive you crazy. And so not only was I achieving something, but I was physically exerting myself.
Yeah.
And I feel so much better. So I think we need to know that about ourselves. I'm like a racehorse. I need to be ran. And mentally and physically. So that was really interesting.
As a side note, if I'd have known you liked Rock the Block, they built a house in my neighborhood.
I know. I saw it. I almost texted you. Yes, that was season 2. It was
my
so
sister
pretty.
is the one who had to tell me. I didn't even know it was happening. That tells you, that goes back to my libido. I was moving too fast to watch Rock the Block. So anyway.
It's good. Yeah. It'll make you want to start knocking down walls in your house.
Well,
Maybe don't watch it.
I'm going to be moving.
Oh, yeah, you're moving. Yeah. Never mind. Don't do that. Where are we, Ron? I don't even know.
We're winding down.
Are we at the takeaway?
Yep.
Are we at the takeaway? Okay. So I think and this is perfect. Know your fire, feed it, right? I just described that. But don't let it burn the village, because that's where I was at. I felt just like this energy. It was a negative energy, right? And I could have let it burn the village, but then I was able to say, oh, okay, I need to achieve something. So I'm gonna paint everything and right, check the boxes, and now I feel sane again.
I love it. Libido's not the villain. But it needs to be led by something deeper than ego.
Yes, exactly.
This was so much fun, Kristin. I can't believe you pulled this off.
Oh my gosh. It's definitely different, right? It's different, but I feel like the take on it is nuanced, fresh, and it's a thinker.
Yeah, it really is. All right, everybody, we appreciate you so much. Continue to download the podcast, get the word out. We are growing, not as fast as we want to grow, but we are growing.
Yeah, we're both churning.
We appreciate you so much. So be the leader you're meant to be.
We'll see you next week.
The Dirty Side of Leadership podcast is brought to you by Forward Operations. If you'd like to book Ron or Kristin for speaking events, training, or executive coaching, visit forwardoperations.com. Be the leader you're meant to be.